In this video, we're going to uncover the fatal mistake an American woman made while attempting to cross the Pacific alone on her sailboat, and the dramatic consequences that followed. While many sailors dreamed of taking on the open ocean, what happened to her serves as a crucial warning for anyone daring to venture into these vast waters. Her journey began as a quest for freedom and adventure, but one small mistake turned everything upside down, transforming what should have been an inspiring voyage into a nightmare. How could a single wrong decision in the middle of the ocean lead to life-altering consequences? In this video, we'll break down exactly what happened, examine the choices that led to this disaster, and discuss the vital lessons every sailor must learn to avoid the same fate. From missteps in planning to critical decisions made at the wrong moment, we'll dive deep into the factors that can turn a dream journey into a tragedy. Stay with us until the end as we share valuable insights on how to prepare for the unexpected at sea. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content on sailing safety, inspiring stories, and adventures on the world's most challenging waters. Let's dive in now. The story began with Emily Harper, a 34-year-old American sailor from Seattle, Washington, whose passion for the sea had burned since her teenage years. Emily was no novice. She had logged over 12,000 nautical miles in coastal cruises along the Pacific Northwest and completed a crewed transatlantic crossing 5 years earlier in 2019. Her resume included certifications in the celestial navigation from the U.S. Sailing Association, offshore safety training, and marine first aid. She spent countless hours honing her skills in Puget Sound, mastering single-handed sailing techniques on smaller boats before acquiring her dream sailboat, a West Sail 32 named Aurora. For Emily, sailing solo across the Pacific wasn't just a bucket list item. It was a personal mission to prove she could conquer the ocean's vastness on her own. She dreamed of standing on Aurora's deck in Honolulu, knowing she had crossed 2,400 nautical miles of open water with nothing but her wits, her boat, and the stars. The West Sail 32, built in 1976, was a legendary choice for blue water cruising. Designed by William Crelock, it was known for its robust construction and seaworthiness, often called the Volkswagen Beetle of the Sea for its reliability. Aurora measured 32 feet in length overall, with a 27.5-foot waterline, an 11-foot beam, and a displacement of 19,500 pounds. Its full keel and transom-hung rudder provided stability in rough seas, while 7,000 pounds of lead ballast ensured it could right itself after a knockdown. The hull, made of hand-laid fiberglass, was thick and durable, designed to withstand the pounding of ocean waves. Aurora was powered by a Perkins 4-108 diesel engine, producing 50 horsepower, with a fuel capacity of 42 gallons, sufficient for motoring through calms or emergencies. Freshwater tanks held 80 gallons, critical for a solo sailor on a multi-week voyage. The sail area totaled 650 square feet, with a cutter rig featuring a mainsail, staysail, and genoa, all manageable from the cockpit for solo operation. Emily spent 2 years from 2022 to 2024 preparing Aurora for the Pacific crossing. She upgraded the electrical system with 2 100-watt solar panels and a 400 amp-hour lithium-ion battery bank, ensuring power for navigation and communication. A wind generator supplemented energy needs on cloudy days. For navigation, she installed a Raymarine Axiom chart plotter, a Furuno radar, and a Class B AIS transceiver to track nearby vessels. A Garmin handheld GPS served as a backup, stored in a waterproof case. Communication was critical for a solo sailor, so Emily equipped Aurora with a fixed VHF radio with digital selective calling, an Iridium GO satellite communicator for texts and weather updates, and a handheld VHF for emergencies. Safety gear included a 406 MHz EPIRB, registered with NOAA, a 4-person life raft with a hydrostatic release, inflatable life jackets with integrated harnesses, and a grab bag containing 7 days' worth of food and water, a first aid kit, flares, a signaling mirror, and a PLB. For solo sailing, she installed a hydraulic autopilot, allowing Aurora to hold a course while she rested, and added extra handrails for safe movement on deck. A timer for 20-minute naps, known as cat naps, was set up to wake her during long passages. All lines were led to the cockpit, minimizing the need to leave the helm in rough conditions. Emily's route was meticulously planned. She departed from San Francisco, California, on July 5, 2024, during the Pacific's summer season, when trade winds were favorable. The 2,400 nautical mile journey to Honolulu, Hawaii, was a classic blue water passage, often chosen by solo sailors for its reliable winds and minimal land hazards. Her plan, based on pilot charts and advice from seasoned cruisers, was to sail south along the California coast to latitude 25 degrees north, where she would pick up the northeast trade winds blowing 15 to 20 knots. From there, she turned west, following a Great Circle route to Oahu. The voyage took 20 days, averaging 120 nautical miles daily at 5 knots. She studied weather patterns, aware of the Pacific hurricane season from May to November, and subscribed to predict wind for real-time weather routing via her Iridium GEO. Challenges included sudden squalls, the risk of encountering floating debris like lost shipping containers, and the California current, which could push her off course if not accounted for. Emily carried paper charts, a sextant, and nautical almanacs as backups, having practiced celestial navigation during training. Preparation was Emily's strength, but even the best sailors overlook small details. She spent months provisioning Aurora with freeze-dried meals, canned goods, and 100 gallons of water, including 20 gallons in extra jerry cans for redundancy. She stocked spare parts, impellers, belts, filters, and a rebuild kit for the bilge pumps. Her toolbox included wrenches, epoxy, marine tape, and a hacksaw. She practiced emergency drills, such as abandoning ship and deploying the life raft. But one oversight proved costly. She didn't double-check the stowage of loose items below decks. A heavy toolbox and spare batteries, stored on a shelf, weren't securely fastened, a mistake she regretted when the sea turned violent. On July 5, 2024, Emily cast off from San Francisco's Marina District, the Golden Gate Bridge fading into the fog behind her. The first week was textbook sailing. Aurora glided through gentle swells, the autopilot humming as the trade winds filled her sails. Emily settled into a rhythm, 4-hour watches followed by 20-minute catnaps. She cooked simple meals on a gimbaled stove, checked weather updates, and logged her position daily. The solitude was both exhilarating and daunting. Alone with her thoughts, she journaled about the stars, the dolphins trailing Aurora, and her growing confidence. But the ocean was unforgiving, and Emily's dream crumbled. On day 12, 1,100 miles from Honolulu, a low-pressure system intensified faster than predicted. Emily received a weather alert via Iridium GO, warning of a tropical depression forming 300 miles to the south, with 35-knot winds and 20-foot seas. She reefed the mainsail, stowed loose gear, and donned her foul-weather gear. As night fell, the storm hit. Waves crashed over Aurora's deck, and the autopilot struggled to maintain course. Emily clipped into her harness, staying in the cockpit to hand steer. At 2 a.m., a deafening thud shook the boat. Aurora lurched violently, throwing Emily against the companionway. She scrambled to her feet, her left arm throbbing from the impact. Below decks, chaos reigned. The unsecured toolbox had slid off its shelf, scattering tools across the cabin sole. Worse, water was pooling in the bilge, far more than normal. Grabbing a flashlight, Emily inspected the hull and found the source, a 10-inch gash in the starboard side, just below the waterline. The impact, likely with a semi-submerged shipping container or log, had cracked the fiberglass. Water poured in at an alarming rate, estimated at 500 gallons per hour. Emily's heart raced. She activated both bilge pumps, the electric rule 2,000 gallons per hour, and a manual Johnson 5 gallons per minute, but they couldn't keep up. She tried a technique called fathering, draping a spare sail over the hull's exterior to slow the leak, securing it with lines run under the keel. The patch held briefly but tore free under the pressure of incoming waves. She grabbed epoxy and marine plywood from her repair kit, attempting to seal the gash from inside. But the water's force made a watertight bond impossible. Her arm, now swollen and likely fractured, screamed with every movement, limiting her strength. Emily faced a devastating reality. Aurora was sinking. She had minutes to act. She activated her EPIRB, sending a distress signal to the U.S. Coast Guard via satellite. The 406 megahertz beacon, registered with her details, transmitted her position to rescue coordinators in Honolulu. Next, she deployed the 4-person lifer raft, tethered to Aurora's stern. She grabbed the grab bag containing 10 liters of water, MREs, a first aid kit, flares, a handheld VHF, and a PLB, and tossed it into the raft. With seas still raging, she cut the tether and boarded the raft, watching Aurora's mast lights vanish beneath the waves. Her home, her dream, was gone. The lifer raft, a Gibbons model with a double tube design, was equipped with a canopy, ballast bags, and a survival kit. Emily secured her injured arm in a makeshift sling using bandages from the first aid kit. She rationed water to 500 milliliters daily, supplementing it with a solar still, a device that distilled seawater using solar heat. Food was limited to high-calorie MREs, eaten sparingly. She tried the handheld VHF, calling Mayday on Channel 16, but no ships responded. The PLB, a backup to the EPIRB, was activated on day 2, broadcasting her position. A small leak in the raft, caused by abrasion against a sharp tool, was patched with a repair clamp, but it underscored the fragility of her situation. Exposure was a constant threat. The tropical sun burned her skin, and nights brought chilling dampness. Emily's mental state wavered. She spoke to herself, reciting poetry and singing to stay alert, but despair crept in. Had the EPIRB failed? Would anyone find her? On day 6, a faint hum broke the silence. A container ship, alerted by the Coast Guard, spotted her raft's strobe light. Crew members hauled her aboard, administering IV fluids and splinting her arm. Emily was alive but shattered, physically from her injury, emotionally from losing Aurora. The ship delivered her to Honolulu, where she was treated for dehydration, a fractured ulna, and second-degree sunburn. The ordeal, lasting 144 hours, was over, but the lessons it taught shaped Emily and the sailing community forever. What went wrong? Emily's fatal mistake wasn't a single act, but a cascade of small oversights. First, she underestimated the risk of floating debris. The Pacific was littered with hazards: lost containers, logs, even abandoned fishing nets. A forward-scanning sonar, though expensive, might have detected the object. Second, her failure to secure loose items below decks caused her injury. A fractured arm reduced her ability to effect repairs, turning a manageable crisis into a catastrophe. Third, she relied too heavily on weather forecasts, which failed to predict the storm's rapid intensification. A more conservative route, staying closer to shipping lanes, might have ensured faster rescue. Finally, her repair attempts, though valiant, lacked redundancy. A collision mat or pre-cut plywood patches could have bought time. The technical details of Aurora's failure revealed critical lessons. The Westsail 32's hull was robust, but no fiberglass boat was immune to impact damage. The gash, likely caused by a steel container, exceeded the hull's tensile strength. Emily's bilge pumps were adequate for normal leaks, but overwhelmed by a 10-inch breach. Her fathering attempt, a technique from the 18th century, was sound in theory but impractical in 20-foot seas. Modern solutions like foam sealants or inflatable collision bags might have stemmed the flow. The lifer raft, while life-saving, wasn't infallible. Its leak highlighted the need for regular inspections and spare repair kits. Emily's survival gear, EPIRB, PLB, and grab bag was exemplary, but the EPIRB's signal took days to yield rescue, underscoring the Pacific's vastness. Emily's preparation was thorough, but not perfect. Her 12,000 miles of experience gave her confidence, but solo sailing demanded superhuman resilience. She managed sleep with 20-minute cat naps, a technique pioneered by solo racers like Ellen MacArthur, but fatigue dulled her reactions during the storm. Her celestial navigation training was academic. With a broken arm, she couldn't use the sextant effectively. Her safety drills, though diligent, didn't simulate injuries or gear failures. A mock scenario with a disabled arm might have prepared her for reality. The Pacific crossing had a rich history. Sailors like Joshua Slocum, who circumnavigated solo in 1898, faced similar perils. Modern adventurers like Jessica Watson, who sailed around the world at 16 in 2010, highlighted the ocean's challenges. Maritime culture valued preparation. Slocum's mantra, check twice, sail once, still resonated. Polynesian navigators who crossed the Pacific centuries ago using stars and currents inspired today's sailors to blend tradition with technology. Emily's story joined this lineage, a cautionary tale of hubris and heroism. The safety lessons were plentiful. First, secure everything. A loose toolbox cost Emily the use of her arm. Bungee cords, Velcro, and latches were cheap insurance. Second, anticipate debris. The Pacific's garbage patch wasn't just plastic. It was a minefield of heavy objects. Night watches, even with radar, had to be vigilant. Third, diversify communication. Emily's VHF and Iridium GO were silenced by the sinking. Her EPIRB and PLB saved her. A satellite phone or in-reach device could add redundancy. Fourth, practice worst-case scenarios. Drills should mimic injuries, gear failures, and abandoned ship chaos. Fifth, respect the weather. Pacific storms could escalate in hours. Checking GRIB files twice daily was non-negotiable. Finally, maintain your life raft. Emily's leak was minor but could have been fatal. Annual servicing, costing $500 to $1,000, was worth it. Emily's ordeal echoed other survival stories. Stephen Callahan, adrift for 76 days in 1982, survived by fishing and distilling water, much like Emily's solar still. Tommy Oldham Ashcraft, who navigated 1,500 miles alone after a hurricane in 1983, faced similar despair. These stories taught resilience but warned against complacency. The sea forgave no mistakes. For viewers, Emily's story was a call to action. Have you faced a crisis at sea? How would you prepare for a solo crossing? What safety gear tops your list? Share in the comments, we'll pin the best responses. For expert insight, we consulted Captain Laura Dunlap, a 30-year veteran with 60,000 miles sailed. She advised, check your boat 3 times, train like your life depends on it, and never trust the ocean to be kind. Her checklist, bilge pump tests, EPI, RB battery checks, and life raft servicing, could have changed Emily's fate. This video wasn't just a story, it was a guide. Equip your boat like it's your lifeline. Train until emergencies feel routine. Respect the sea's power. Emily Harper survived, but Aurora didn't. Don't let your dream voyage end in tragedy. Subscribe and hit the bell for more tales of adventure and survival. Fair winds and stay safe out there.